Welcome back, Pdub Nation. We got another episode of the Pdub Report. We got week 8 of the NFL coming our way. We got back in the green in week 7. And we got a legendary World Series coming up this week. Yankees, Dodgers. First time since 1981. Lot to go over. Scott, back in the green for NFL week 8. That always feels good.
Yeah, back and forth this week. It was a battle this week. NFL, the sharpest lines in the game. Premium side, we go 6-5. Thursday was great. We took the team total under 17.5 for the Saints. We saw the Broncos slap them around. Sunday, up and down day, 4-3. Niners got us on an elite play. We'll talk a little bit about the Chiefs coming up here, but we did get 2 5-unit teasers as well. And then the Monday, we get a little lucky on our teaser. We go 1-1. We did have the Bucks, obviously the wrong side. The Ravens are just, wow, Lamar looked great on Monday night. And we did have a teaser, which we slid back in on that plus 11 with the Bucks late as they got that onside kick. So 6-5 overall, plus 4 units on the premium. So we did catch the green and hoping for a better week this week.
Yeah, guys, always looking to get more money in the pockets. A lot of crazy games as always. Packers, Green Bay went down to the wire, ended up pulling it out with the Packers there. A lot more injuries as always. That's some big news. And we saw that especially on Monday night. Todd Boyle, what are you doing? Leaving Godwin in the backstretch there. But we got 3 games that were just really mind-boggling a little bit for different reasons. And we're going to kind of touch on a little bit. But Scott, I'm interested to hear 3 wins this week that we saw. One, the Steelers. I mean, just absolutely magnificent performance. Russell Wilson comes along. They get it done. And they didn't just win. They blew out the Jets, and they put up the most points since 2021. The Chiefs go into San Francisco. Mahomes threw 2 more interceptions. God-awful performance there. Granted, he did some stuff on the legs, but they still a perfect 6-0 despite all the issues. And speaking of issues, the Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson, their best defensive player, arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. He goes down. They get the division rival Vikings off a bye. Start off down that game, double digits. Doesn't matter. They found a way. Which of those 3 wins, I'm just really more impressive to you, all for different reasons, kind of different angles, but what caught you out of there?
Hey, they're all impressive. I mean, you got to be impressed with Russ and what he did with the Steelers. Like you said, blowout of the Jets. Didn't expect that, honestly. Expected Rodgers, Devontae, a little fired, little new look. You saw him on the McAfee show together, but Russ comes in, take care of business. You got the Detroit Lions. I was big on them this week. It was my free pick of the week.
Shout out to everybody who tailed.
The Hutchinson news. And what happened? I mean, they get down 10-0, and then what happens? They come back and they steamroll them. Goff looked great. But the most impressive one to me against my Niners, 10-unit elite play this week, again, 1-1 on the elite plays. I expected the Niners to come in and do some things. Yes, there were some injuries for the Niners, obviously, early on, Debo and such, and Ayuk's out now for the season. But the Chiefs are impressive with the Mahomes, like, unbelievable. Look at this. Mahomes, less passable yards than Daniel Bones. Unbelievable. Less touchdowns thrown than Joe Flacco. Yes, he can do some things with his legs, but he's underperforming, and the Chiefs are still cooking. You're undefeated. Yes, your defense is great. I mean, Mahomes is still second as far as MVP is concerned, according to DraftKings at plus 450. I don't even see him there. I mean, what happens when they actually turn this thing around and Mahomes starts playing great? The upside for the Chiefs is, amazing. So that's my most impressive. How do you be so great and still not with your top performer not performing at the top of his game?
It's scary for the rest of the league. I mean, obviously the 2-time Super Bowl champs, what they've done the last couple of years, but yeah, they just find a way to stay in the game. They pull it out late. The defense keeps it. Yeah, if Mahomes gets going, like we see in some of his MVP seasons, watch out. I mean, that 3P is really right around the corner. They get the trade today for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we'll see if that helps out the passing game. So, how do you feel about that? Why on that topic, DeAndre Hopkins, like that move?
Huge. I mean, it's absolutely another weapon for him. You know, Hopkins got height too, throwing that deep ball up. I mean, it's a huge move for them. The Chiefs are scary, man. I mean, it's really scary. Yes, we've talked about this in previous shows. They've gotten lucky, in a couple of these games, starting with week 1 against the Ravens, but they're where they're at, and they're going to continue to cook, in my opinion. And you predicted them, I believe, to be your Super Bowl champion early. Am I wrong with that?
I still have Ravens winning it all, but my problem is the Ravens can't beat the Chiefs. The Ravens are the best team in football. They just can't beat the Chiefs. They find a way to – I can't explain it. I mean, Chiefs – I don't think the Chiefs are a better team, but they'll win that game 9 times out of 10 for whatever reason it is.
Well, I was wrong with that, but the Chiefs, I mean, again, most impressive for me, Mahomes.
Yeah.
What happens when he starts cooking, we'll see. And the Hopkins news, I don't know, man. I think it's either Chiefs or nothing for me, at least for the next few weeks, because I can't bet against them. I just can't bet against them.
Yeah, as far as the Hopkins thing, we've seen Henry now out of Tennessee and Baltimore find new life in a new system. Some people thought he was washed. He's proven he wasn't. So interested to see if that's the case with Hopkins. Now going from Will Levis to Patrick Mahomes is quite the upgrade. Even Patrick Mahomes having his worst season yet. So we'll see what goes on there. But I was really impressed with Detroit. I mean, obviously we were against that at the Civil War game last week. I liked the Vikings going in. It was such a good spot, the Hutchinson injury. And then watching that first quarter, I had a buddy who overreacted so much to that first quarter. He said the Lions are done. Hutchinson was too much of a loss. They can't handle it. They're not even going to win this division, blah, 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 blah. And before like his take could even live 2 hours, game comes over. Jared Goff leads it. They come back, make amazing plays. Shout out Detroit. Horrible spot, horrible issues, horrible things they had to overcome and adapt to, and they did it. Jared Goff playing great football. Shout out Dan Campbell as well for handling down all that.
Shout out to Dan Campbell is right. We talked about it on last week. Players coach, man. You can do some special things when you get behind your coach. And these boys are these men, these Detroit Lions, they love Mr. Campbell. And they're going to continue to do some great things, even without Hutchinson. I mean, obviously that's a huge loss for them. But they keep cooking. They keep doing their thing. They battle. They play hard. I love them. I love the Detroit Lions on their trajectory this season.
Yeah, Jared Goff even starting to get some MVP love a little bit. So is Lamar Jackson that we saw going. That's our next segment here. We're going to give you guys some MVP prediction/value because obviously Lamar Jackson right now, he's the chalk to win it, deservingly so, leading in a bunch of different categories. Baltimore's looking fantastic on this win streak. But there is some voter fatigue. He's already won 2, coming off another one last year. So we'll see if that voter fatigue affects. Looking at some value here, Scott. Who do you like to come out and possibly win an MVP this season?
So if there's a square better, I'm not the guy. I'm not going Lamar. I thought you were going to go Lamar, so I wanted to have a friendly banter here, but I know you're going another place. We talked a little pre-show. I'm going Jared Goff. I'm going right back to the Detroit Lions. Why? Jared Goff is cooking 58 of 68. 58 of 68, 800 plus yards, 140 plus passer rating in his last 3 games. The Detroit Lions are 5-1. The Ravens are 5-2. If we're going to compare him against Lamar, I just like him as a game manager. I like what he's doing with the Lions. I mean, what's not to like? His biggest downfall here, and we talked about this pre-show as well, is the man obviously cannot scramble and can't run. So that O-line holds up for him this year, and the Detroit Lions win their division. Potentially, we have the NFL MVP. You can grab Jared Goff at DK plus 850 right now, 4th highest MVP prediction right there. You got Lamar at 225, Mahomes at 450, Josh Allen, and now Jared Goff at plus 850. But I just think the Detroit Lions are heading in the right direction, and I want to get behind it. I'm placing that bet today.
I got a pretty big hot take for you guys on my MVP take. I don't mind Jared Goff. He's playing out of his mind. I think we'll see how voters feel about that. He might give too much credit to the team, less than him, similar to a Brock Purdy situation. I mean, the statistics are ridiculous for him. Give my man Joe Burrow some love. Now, this Bengals team, 3-4 start to the season, not ideal. But I tell you what, part 1 of this hot take is Bengals go 9-1 from here on out. They're going to finish the season 12-5. Secondly, Cincinnati and what we have seen with Joe Burrow, he is top 5 in pretty much every single QB statistic. But more importantly, the 2 top teams we talked about at the start of the show, Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, they should have had wins against both of those teams. Against both of those teams, they led with under 3 minutes to go in the 4th quarter and were a first down or 2 away from holding on and keeping the – granted, Burrow fumbles against Cincinnati or against Kansas City. They get a game-winning kick. They go to OT and they lose against the Ravens. So be it. This team is as good as it gets as far as the top level of the NFL. They're going to cruise down the back end stretch of the schedule. 9-1 close coming here for Cincinnati, and we're going to see a lot of Joe Burrow love down the stretch of the season.
So I will agree with you. I mean, I think we could all agree they're slow starters. They've been slow starters for years, the Bengals, and now in the back end they pick it up coming, as it gets into that playoff race, that playoff time at the back end of the year. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I mean, is he still having his blonde hair? Because that shit is brutal. I don't know if any MVP has got the bleach blonde hair, but
did you see
I can see where you're going with that.
Sidetrack, but D'Angelo Russell's hair last night in the Lakers game, to see that is so bad.
Yeah.
Even worse than Burrow.
That was terrible. But I see where you're going with it. But can they guard anybody? Can you really go 9-1 and not defend or at least somewhat defend the pass? I mean, I don't know.
Well, they get the Eagles. They get the Eagles next week, who Eagles can't score in the first quarter for whatever reason. Only team to not score early this season. Then they get the Raiders. They have a couple of easy games left. The Browns again. They get the Titans. They get the Broncos, the Steelers twice. They get a lot of bad offenses down the stretch of the season.
I don't know if you can call the Browns a bad offense with Jameis at the helm.
We might have started drug testing before we record these.
Yeah, he's bad. He was deemed the starter this week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes with Jim. Sorry to break it to you, Browns fans. I don't think Jameis Winston is the savior to the team. I don't know about you, Scott.
Moving on to a little World Series baseball. We got a World Series starting on Friday. Two biggest market teams. They're playing to pay, and they're going to get paid because they're in the series. What are we thinking here, Ben, as your World Series prediction?
Oh, it's going to be my Yankees, and they're going to do it in 6. If you guys don't know, I am a Yankees fan. It's the only sport, any team I have a fan of. I've been a fan of them since I was 3 years old. If it wasn't for the Yankees, I wouldn't be involved in sports betting at this point today anyways. But with that, I'm not biased. I haven't said the Yankees were going to win a World Series in a decade. Coming into this year, it felt like their year. Judge and Cole both healthy, and Cole, who's coming off a Cy Young, Soto, the perfect bat to come in. And now you come into this matchup against the Dodgers. Here's the problem with the Dodgers. Their pitching is so banged up. They have a whole Cy Young rotation out for the World Series here at this point. No Kershaw, no Glasnow, Dustin May. You have Gonsolin and Stone. I mean, missing a lot of talent on their pitching rotation, which could completely be an entirely another playoff team's rotation. The Yankees just got their number on the pitching side of things. Lineup, you could argue it up and down who you prefer, but with Freddie hurt, Stanton, Soto, and Judge looking as good as any 3 in the league. Give me the Yanks in 6, Scott.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I wrote down quite a few things. I mean, the edge, the starters, the Yanks have the edge by far. You got Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, Gill, or Heel. How do you pronounce Heel?
Heel.
They just have the edge against the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees have the edge on the starting. The bullpen, the Dodgers, they might have the edge there. I mean, the Yankees have a good bullpen. Here's the thing, though. The Dodgers are going to have to use their bullpen, in my opinion, a lot more than the Yankees. So how deep and how fatigue plays a factor. Bats, you could go either way. I mean, I believe the Dodgers have a little bit deeper of a lineup than the Yankees.
Yep.
But at the same time, I mean, the Yankees are hot, bro. Their bats are hot. I'm going Yankees in 7. I like him to win it in LA. I want to see a 7-game series. I think they go into LA. And I think at that point in the series, I think fatigue is going to play a role. I know all hands are on deck in a game 7, but I feel like the Yankees are going to be in a much stronger position late in that series. And so I believe Yankees in 7.
Yeah, I hope we get that set. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a 7-game series, these two teams. And a lot of people are hating on it. It's the big market teams, it's just the biggest pockets. But we haven't had this in a long time. So I'm excited for this series. Judge and Ohtani, I mean, your 2 best players, your 2 guys who led the league in homers. It's just a dream World Series for the MLB, for everybody else, for baseball fans. Everyone should be excited.
Look what we had last year. I mean, you had smaller markets in the series last year. Now you got the 2 biggest markets. I'm excited about it. I thought about going to the Dodgers to the game. It's $1,200 in LA for nosebleeds. So,
yeah,
they're up there.
I'm looking at maybe going to game 6. We'll see if I end up pulling that off there. It's Yankees Dodgers once in a generation. Might have to, but
I know might have to pull the trigger there. So
Scott,
moving on, what are we going to? Free pick of the week?
Yeah, free pick of the week. I see you got a nice jersey on there, nice little collar. Who you rocking to this week for the free bet?
So we went Detroit Lions last week in a tough spot. We got another tough spot this week. I guess I like to pick them out, right? I mean, so not the biggest market game, but you got Tua coming back. What did he say to the media the other day? He's not going to wear a crown.
Yeah, he's not going to wear the Guardian cap for whatever reason. I don't know.
That's crazy to me, but
Yeah.
I like the spot for him. Here's the thing with the Cardinals. I thought that was a big win against the Chargers. They don't do well after they won their Super Bowl against the 49ers. They came back the next week and got ripped.
Yep.
Now they beat the Chargers at home in a very, very well played ball game. And I feel like they're going to go into Miami and get ripped. I feel like Tua is a key piece, obviously, to the Dolphins, and they're a much different team. Although they've kind of struggled early in the season when he was playing, I like him to come back. I know he's going to want to make a statement. Give me the Dolphins -3 for our free pick of the week.
Yeah, I'm lined up with you there on Miami. They need some big changes offensively. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle just not able to get involved with the rotisserie of quarterbacks that we have seen since the injury there to Tua. So good to have him back. Mike McDaniel, I'm sure, is glad to have him back. And honestly, Arizona, they've just been a weird team this year, a little bit underwhelming in some aspects, but agree with you completely. Like the matchup for Miami. I almost went there for my survivor pick, looking to stay a perfect 8-0. But I did not. I ended up going with the Denver Broncos. Don't love it. I won't lie to you guys. It's a big number from a betting perspective. I actually lean Carolina on this game, but I do think Denver wins this game. Don't imagine myself using the Broncos again at some point for Survivor this season. Big number against the Panthers. Bo Nick's been looking better. That defense been looking a lot better. They do get the extra rest coming off the Thursday night game against New Orleans. Big game that they just got to take advantage here and take care of business at home, and hopefully put us in a position to be under the last 200 there, Circa.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I wanted to pull it up while we're on the show. It looks like only two. Is that right? Two teams eliminated last week. I got you. 214 people left in the Circa Survivor. So it's getting down. Should be under about 200 this week. Ben would still be alive in an incredible position. It's gonna be a tight race down the stretch for you, buddy. If you do make the top 10, I don't think I can pay you out what you would have won to the Circa Millionaire. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't think I can do that for you.
That's all right. You guys just drop a follow and a comment, and I'll have to take care of it. That'll have to get us there.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll do you justice, man. But hell of a job, buddy. Hell of a job.
Yeah, shout out to anybody who's still alive in any Survivor pools, and hopefully we can keep it going for down the stretch. And now we got to get into some of this other stuff for you guys for week 8. Last thing to wrap it up here, long shot prop. Scott, I started off 0 for. I went 0 for 5. I hit the last 2 weeks. Gino in the week 6 and week 7. Bo Nix over 50 rushing yards plus 600. I have somehow gotten back in the green now on these long shot props. Needed that. I was down big there.
Hey, started the big donut. Look at you, man. Making money. So that's why you stick by us, you guys. You guys think we're not going to come through? We always come through for you. Just give us a little bit of time, and we'll make it happen. So kudos to Ben. Back in the green, baby.
Yeah, that's the perks of plus money. Watch out for laying heavy juice, guys. That's the perks of plus money. You get a couple winners, and you're back in it. Scott, who do you have here coming up for this week 8 long shot prop?
So I'm going to Thursday Night Football. I like to go to Thursday Night Football for these games. Rams Vikings. Going Rams Vikings. I'm looking at the Matthew Stafford. I like go quarterbacks on these long shot props. His over 300 passing yards plus 500 to get over 300 yards. You're playing the 30th ranked pass defense in the NFL in the Minnesota Vikings. And you've got a short line here, 2.5, and you get Cooper Kupp back. I like my odds here. I think they're going to air it out, and Sean McVay is going to throw the ball. Now, there is a chance, if you really think about it, the Rams could get down in this game early, right?
No.
And they're not going to get back into the game running the ball. So I see the attempts potentially could be a regular prop bet for you guys on his passing attempts over. But if you guys want a long shot prop, I want you guys to lock in that plus 300 passing yards from Matthew Stafford. I think all things align. I think pretty good shot here for a plus 500 on Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to Sunday Night Football, and bit of an interesting one for you guys. Dak Prescott over 300 yards at plus 340. Cowboys looked horrendous against Detroit a few weeks ago. Absolutely embarrassed at home. The Niners have their number. They have not found success against San Francisco the last several years. But this is not the same Niners team, not the same Cowboys team. One of these teams is going to have to come away with the win here. Who's regressed more? I don't know. Dak Prescott, he gets engaged during the bye week. He's all high on life. And I think we see a big performance here from Dallas in a much needed spot for them to show up. And not just, obviously, winning the game is ideal, but just to look competitive. I mean, they were embarrassed against Detroit. So we'll see if we get a competitive Cowboys team. I like this matchup for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys to get some passing games going here. I like him over 300 yards plus 340, and see if we can get back and keep in the green actually on the long shot props.
Hey, on that topic, bro. So after you get smacked like that, and I know it shouldn't affect your personal life, right? You got to do what you got to do. You're going to get engaged, whatnot. What do you think? How does that look like to the public? Like, I don't know. When I saw that post, he got engaged. Like after getting smacked, I was kind of like, should you be focused on that during the season? It is his personal life, so don't get me wrong. I'm a married man, but at the same time, your profession, you're in the public eye. Could you get engaged in the off season? I don't know. What's your take on that?
It's a couple of things. One, I think it's horrendous timing coming off the worst loss of his tenure as a Dallas Cowboy. Regular season loss, obviously last year, Green Bay, the playoffs was horrendous. But as far as in season, I mean, ideally, I'm sure they want to get married in the off season, honeymoon in the off season, right? So maybe this is the time of year to propose for that. They did have it, planned during a bye week. So at least it wasn't, they got blown out. He's getting engaged. They have a game on Sunday. At least it was during a bye week. So I had mixed feelings about it. They are human at the end of the day. And I guess, if you had a point in your work schedule where you had a week off in the middle of the year, you would kind of try to plan something personal like that. So I somewhat understand it, but man, just what a horrible look, getting blown out by 40 and be like, all right, fuck football. I'm going to go talk to my girlfriend. Let's get engaged. Let's get married. So I see both sides of it.
Yeah, I do. When you break it down like that, I mean, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But I think, like, first glance to the public eye just doesn't look good. Like, if you really have to think about, okay, I have a week off, it's a bye week. You really got to take those steps through for you to kind of make sense. But I just think it's, like you said, it's awful timing. And we'll see. Maybe it'll give him a little bit of bounce back. I don't know, bounce back loving for the guy. Maybe you need a little loving, huh?
Maybe that's what he needed. Who knows? I mean, they need all time. I think really they need Jerry Jones to kick the bucket. I think that's the only thing that's going to really save Dallas. But I don't know if Dak Prescott's planning to get enough of that during this bye week.
I got you. All right. Well, I think that's it for the show this week. We'll wrap it up. Remember, Miami Dolphins free pick, long shot props, lock them in, roll with us, ride with us. And as we like to say, let's go, Pdub Nation.
See you guys.